While your friends are posting TikToks and complaining about being bored, you're about to learn something that will give you an unfair advantage for the rest of your life. Most teenagers have no idea they're living through the most powerful decade they'll ever have. You think you're just getting through high school, but you're actually sitting on the greatest opportunity for building wealth, skills, and relationships that you'll ever see. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything or make you feel better about wasting time. I'm here to wake you up before you sleepwalk into a mediocre life. See, I've watched too many young men hit 25 wondering where their early 20s went. I've listened to 30-year-olds describe their teenage years like a blur of screens and shallow friendships that led nowhere. They all say the same thing: if only I had started earlier. You are earlier. Right now, this moment. The next 7 chapters contain the practical manual you wish someone had given you before. This isn't theory from some professor who's never built anything. This is compressed wisdom from someone who learned the hard way, so you don't have to. You've 2 options: whether you'll just grow up or you'll grow up intentionally. The choice is yours. Which version of yourself do you want to become? Before we move forward, it would be great if you subscribe to Darkwood Audiobooks, where every word is crafted to fuel your discipline and separate you from the crowd. Now let's begin. Every moment either shapes you into something stronger or lets you grow cold and brittle. Listen carefully. Right now, as you hear these words, something irreversible is happening. Time is moving forward, and it will never move backward. That sounds obvious, doesn't it? Everyone knows time moves forward. But here's what most people, especially most teenagers, don't understand. Time isn't just moving forward. It's making choices for you. Every minute you don't decide how to spend, someone else decides for you. The algorithm decides. The friend who texts decides. The distraction that feels urgent decides. The entertainment industry decides. And while they're deciding how you spend your irreplaceable hours, you tell yourself you're relaxing. You tell yourself you're taking a break. You tell yourself you'll get serious tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. I've watched too many young men wake up at 25 wondering where their early 20s went. I've listened to 30-year-olds describe their teenage years like a blur of screens and substances and shallow friendships that led nowhere. They all say the same thing: if only I had started earlier. You are earlier, right now, this moment. This is your earlier. When I was 17, I thought I had all the time in the world. I thought the real world would wait for me to get ready. I thought 25 was ancient and 30 might as well have been death. I was wrong about everything. The real world doesn't wait. 25 arrives like a lightning strike. And the habits you build now, the systems you create now, the respect you develop for time now, these determine whether you greet your 20s with power or panic. So let's talk about the time trap, and more importantly, let's talk about how to escape it. The invisible thief. Time theft happens in patterns, not random moments, but predictable patterns that you can identify and interrupt. The first pattern is what I call fake urgency. Your phone buzzes. Your brain says emergency. You check it immediately. It's a meme or a notification about someone you barely know posting something you don't care about, or an update about a game you'll forget about next month. But here's the insidious part. Your brain got a tiny hit of stimulation, a micro reward, and now it's waiting for the next buzz, the next notification, the next fake emergency. This isn't an accident. Teams of neuroscientists and behavioral psychologists work full-time to make your phone irresistible. They study how to hijack your attention, fragment your focus, and keep you coming back for more fake urgency. They're very good at their job. The second pattern is productive procrastination. You convince yourself you're being responsible by doing easier tasks while avoiding harder ones. You organize your room instead of studying for the exam. You research workout routines instead of actually working out. You watch videos about entrepreneurship instead of starting a business. It feels like progress. It isn't. It's just procrastination wearing a disguise. The third pattern is entertainment overflow. You tell yourself you need to relax, so you watch one episode. One episode becomes three. Three becomes a season. A season becomes a habit. And suddenly, your relaxation time consumes more hours than your productive time. These patterns are not accidents. They're not weaknesses. They're traps. Carefully designed, scientifically tested traps. And most people spend their entire lives caught in them. The activity audit. Here's your first weapon against the time trap. Ruthless awareness. For the next 7 days, you're going to track every hour, not estimate. Track. Write down what you actually did, not what you plan to do or wish you had done. But that sounds obsessive. Good. Obsessive beats unconscious. Most people have no idea where their time goes, which is why they have no control over where their life goes. Hour by hour. Write it down. After 7 days, you'll have data. Not feelings or guesses or excuses. Data. Add it up. How many hours went to screens? How many to actual skill development? How many to relationships that matter? How many to building something lasting? Most people are shocked by their own audit. They thought they were working hard. The data shows they were working scattered. But here's the beautiful thing about data. It doesn't lie, and it doesn't judge. It just shows you exactly where you are, so you can decide exactly where you want to go. The timer revolution. Once you see where your time actually goes, you can start redirecting it. The most powerful tool for this redirection isn't willpower, it's systems, specifically timer systems. The human brain is terrible at estimating time and terrible at sustaining focus without boundaries. But it's excellent at responding to clear constraints. Start with the 25-minute rule. Pick one important task. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on nothing else until the timer stops. Then take a 5-minute break. Repeat. But 25 minutes isn't enough time to accomplish anything meaningful. Wrong. 25 minutes of focused work accomplishes more than 3 hours of distracted effort. Focus multiplies results. Distraction divides them. When I first started using timers, I was amazed by how much I could accomplish in 25 minutes of pure focus. I'd been confusing time spent with work done. They're not the same thing. Time spent includes interruptions, mental wandering, fake urgency, and procrastination. Work done is pure focus applied to meaningful tasks. 25 minutes of work done beats 4 hours of time spent. Every time. Here's how to build your timer system. Morning focus. Block. First thing after waking up, before checking any messages, set a 25-minute timer. Work on your most important task while your mind is fresh and undistracted. Study sprints. Break large assignments into 25-minute chunks. 1 chapter, 1 problem set, 1 essay, section. Sprint through each chunk, then rest. Skill sessions. Learning guitar, coding, drawing. 25 minutes of daily practice beats 3 hours of weekend cramming. Planning periods. Every Sunday, spend 25 minutes planning your week. Every evening, spend 10 minutes planning tomorrow. The timer isn't just organizing your work, it's training your brain to focus on command. Creating sacred space. Time management isn't just about efficiency, it's about creating space for what actually matters to you. Most teenagers fill their schedules with other people's priorities. School assignments from teachers who don't know their dreams. Social activities with friends who don't share their values. Entertainment from industries that profit from their distraction. Meanwhile, the things that could change their lives. The creative projects, the skill development, the deep thinking, the meaningful relationships get pushed to someday. Someday is not a day of the week. You need to protect space for what matters to you, not just find time for it. Protect time for it. Guard it like a precious resource, because that's exactly what it is. This means saying no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. It means disappointing people who want your time for their priorities. It means accepting that you can't do everything, so you must choose carefully what you will do. Here's what I learned the hard way. Everyone will have opinions about how you should spend your time. Parents will want you to focus on grades. Friends will want you to focus on social activities. Society will want you to focus on consuming their products. But nobody will prioritize your dreams except you. If you don't create sacred space for what matters most to you, life will fill that space with what matters most to everyone else. The compound effect of daily choices. Every day, you make thousands of small choices about time. Check phone or read book, watch video or practice skill, complain with friends or work on project. These choices feel insignificant in the moment. They're not. They're compound investments in your future self. Think of time like a blacksmith's forge. Every moment you're either heating the metal of your character, shaping it into something stronger, or you're letting it cool, becoming brittle and weak. The blacksmith doesn't forge a blade in one powerful strike. He shapes it through hundreds of deliberate blows, each one moving the metal closer to its final form. Your daily choices are those deliberate blows. Each one seems small. Together they determine whether you become a sharp instrument capable of cutting through life's challenges, or a dull tool that breaks under pressure. I wish someone had told me this at 16. The teenager who learns to manage his time becomes the 25-year-old who controls his destiny. The teenager who lets time manage him becomes the 25-year-old who wonders where his life went. It's that simple and that serious. The weekend test. Here's how you know if you're winning the time game or losing it. Look at your weekends. Most teenagers treat weekends like recovery time from the week. They sleep until noon, scroll until evening, and wonder why Sunday night feels so empty. But here's what successful people understand. Weekends aren't for recovery from your week. They're for investment in your future. While your peers are sleeping off Friday night, you're awake early, working on the project that could change your life. While they're binge-watching shows they'll forget, you're learning skills they'll wish they had. While they're complaining about being bored, you're building something that excites you. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being intentional. You can still have fun. You can still relax. You can still spend time with friends. But you do these things from a place of choice, not default. You rest because you've earned it, not because you're avoiding something important. Building your time system. Now let's build your personal time management system. Not a generic system that works for everyone. A specific system that works for you. Step 1. Identify your peak hours. Pay attention to your natural energy cycles. When do you feel most alert, most creative, most motivated? These are your peak hours. Protect them fiercely. Most people waste their peak hours on low-value activities and try to do important work when they're tired. This is backwards. High-value work gets peak hours. Everything else gets what's left. Step 2. Create your non-negotiables. Choose 3 activities that happen every day, no matter what. These might be 30 minutes of reading, 25 minutes of skill practice, 15 minutes of planning, reflection. These aren't goals, they're systems. Goals depend on motivation. Systems depend on commitment. Step 3. Design your environment. Your environment makes choices for you. A phone next to your bed makes late-night scrolling inevitable. A guitar in the corner makes daily practice more likely. Set up your space to make good choices easy and bad choices harder. Step 4. Build transition rituals. Create specific rituals that move you from one activity to another. Before focused work, clear desk, close all apps, set timer. Before sleep, phone in another room, journal 3 thoughts. Before difficult tasks, take 3 deep breaths, state your intention. Rituals create momentum. Momentum creates results. The advanced game. Once you master basic time management, you can play the advanced game. Time multiplication. This is where you start making choices that create more time instead of just managing the time you have. Learning systems. Instead of memorizing facts, you learn how to learn faster. This multiplies the value of every study hour. Automation. You identify repetitive tasks and create systems to handle them automatically. This frees up mental energy for important decisions. Delegation. You trade money for time by paying others to handle tasks that don't require your specific skills. Skill stacking. You choose skills that enhance each other, creating compound benefits. The teenager who masters time becomes the young adult who has options. Options to travel, options to take risks, options to say no to jobs he doesn't want and yes to opportunities others can't see. Time mastery isn't just about productivity, it's about freedom. Time is the foundation, but time without direction is just organized chaos. You've learned to master your hours. Now let's talk about what to fill those hours with. Something the world wants to convince you doesn't matter. Why your hobbies matter more than you think. The expert in anything was once a beginner who refused to give up. They lied to you. Not maliciously, not intentionally, but they lied to you about what matters. They told you that your hobbies are distractions, that your interests are immature, that success means abandoning the things you love to focus on the things you're supposed to love. They told you, studies first, hobbies later. Maybe. Here's the truth they don't want you to know. The most successful people in the world built their careers on their obsessions, the things they couldn't stop thinking about. The activities they lost track of time doing, the interests that made other people say, "Isn't that a waste of time?" Steve Jobs was obsessed with calligraphy. Elon Musk was obsessed with rockets and video games. Stephen King was obsessed with horror stories. Michael Jordan was obsessed with basketball. Not one of them succeeded by abandoning their obsessions. They succeeded by turning their obsessions into expertise. So, when I was 15, I spent hours every day writing. Not for school assignments, not because anyone asked me to, because I couldn't help myself. I had stories in my head that demanded to exist on paper. Everyone around me had opinions about this habit. You should focus on math instead. Writing isn't a real career. You're wasting time that could be spent on practical skills. I almost listened to them. I almost let them convince me that my deepest interest was my biggest distraction. Thank God I didn't. That obsession became expertise. That expertise became opportunity. That opportunity became freedom. And it all started with something other people dismissed as a hobby, the great deception. Let's talk about the lie that's keeping most teenagers from building the lives they actually want. The lie goes like this. Focus on your studies now. Build practical skills. Get good grades. Go to college. Get a safe job. Then, maybe, if you have time and energy left over, you can pursue your interests. This is the recipe for a miserable life. The compound effect of daily practice. Let's do some math that will change how you think about time. If you spend 30 minutes a day practicing something you love, that's 182.5 hours per year. Over 4 years of high school, that's 730 hours of focused practice. Malcolm Gladwell popularized the 10,000-hour rule, the idea that world-class expertise requires 10,000 hours of deliberate practice. Most people focus on that big number and get discouraged. But here's what they miss. You don't need world-class expertise to build a successful career. You need above-average expertise in a field you care about. 730 hours of focused practice will make you better than 90% of people at almost anything. Better than 90% is enough to get noticed, enough to get hired, enough to get opportunities, and that's just 30 minutes a day of something you already want to do. I know a teenager who spent 20 minutes every day learning video editing, not because he had to, because he loved turning raw footage into compelling stories. His friends thought he was wasting time. His parents worried he wasn't focusing on real subjects. By 17, he was earning more money editing videos for local businesses than most adults in his town earned at their full-time jobs. By 19, he had a waiting list of clients and was turning down work. By 21, he owned a media company, 20 minutes a day, something he loved doing anyway. Breaking the studies first myth. Let me ask you a question that might make you uncomfortable. What have you learned in school that you actually use in your daily life? Not what you might use someday, not what could theoretically be valuable, what you actually use. Now ask yourself, what have you learned from your hobbies and interests that you use constantly? If you love music, you've learned discipline, pattern recognition, emotional expression, and creative problem-solving. If you love gaming, you've learned strategy, quick decision-making, resource management, and system optimization. If you love working on cars, you've learned mechanical thinking, troubleshooting, patience, and precision. These aren't soft skills. These are the skills that determine success in almost every field. But here's the difference. You learned them naturally, enjoyably, sustainably, because you were intrinsically motivated, not externally forced. School tries to force motivation from the outside. Study this because you have to. Learn this because it's on the test. Care about this because it's required. External motivation creates temporary compliance. Internal motivation creates permanent transformation. Your hobbies reveal your natural learning style, your genuine interests, and your authentic strengths. They show you who you are when nobody is making you be anybody else. Why would you abandon this self-knowledge to chase someone else's definition of success? The underground economy. While you're sitting in classrooms learning outdated information, there's an entire economy growing underground. An economy built by people who turn their obsessions into income streams. The teenager who loves makeup has 100,000 Instagram followers and gets paid to promote products. The kid who's obsessed with sneakers has built a reselling business that pays for college. The girl who can't stop drawing has a waiting list for custom portraits. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for credentials. They didn't wait for someone to tell them their interests were valuable. They just started. They practiced. They shared their work. They found other people who cared about the same things. And slowly, naturally, inevitably, their hobbies became their income. This isn't luck. It's not talent. It's the natural result of spending consistent time developing skills you care about in areas where other people have problems you can solve. Every hobby has an economy around it. Every interest has people willing to pay for expertise, guidance, or products. The question isn't whether your passion can make money. The question is whether you're willing to develop it seriously enough to find out. The skill transfer secret. Here's something most people don't understand. The skills you develop through passionate practice transfer to other areas of your life in ways you can't predict. The discipline you learn from daily guitar practice makes you better at studying. The strategic thinking you develop from gaming makes you better at business planning. The patience you build from photography makes you better at relationships. I know a young man who learned leadership through organizing gaming tournaments. He's now running marketing campaigns for Fortune 500 companies. I know a woman who learned project management through cosplay creation. She's now coordinating construction projects worth millions of dollars. I know a teenager who learned sales through trading card games. He's now the youngest account executive at his advertising agency. Your hobbies aren't separate from your career development. They are your career development happening naturally, sustainably, enjoyably. Building your passion platform. Now let's talk about how to transform your interests from private hobbies into public expertise. Step 1. Document your journey. Start sharing your learning process. Not just your successes, but your struggles, discoveries, and improvements. People don't just want to see expertise. They want to see expertise being built. Blog about your progress. Make videos of your practice sessions. Share before and after photos of your projects. Step 2. Find your tribe. Every interest has a community. Find yours. Online forums, local clubs, social media groups, workshops, events. Don't just consume from these communities. Contribute to them. Answer questions. Share resources. Help newcomers. Step 3. Solve real problems. Pay attention to the problems people in your interest area face. What do they struggle with? What do they need? What would make their experience better? Then solve those problems. Create guides. Build tools. Offer services. Step 4. Teach what you learn. The fastest way to deepen your expertise is to teach it to others. Start simple, help beginners, share basic techniques. Teaching forces you to organize your knowledge, identify gaps in your understanding, and communicate complex ideas clearly. These are valuable skills in any career. The practical integration. I'm not saying abandon your responsibilities. I'm saying integrate your passions with your obligations. School projects. Whenever possible, choose research topics, creative projects, and presentation subjects related to your interests. You'll do better work and learn more relevant skills. Social time. Instead of generic hanging out, organize activities around shared interests. Start a band. Form a study group for game design. Create a photography club. Summer jobs. Look for work in fields connected to your passions. If you love fitness, work at a gym. If you love books, work at a bookstore. If you love technology, find internships at tech companies. Weekend projects. Dedicate consistent weekend time to advancing your interests, not just consuming content about them, but actively practicing and creating. The resistance you'll face. When you start taking your interests seriously, people will push back. They'll call you unrealistic, impractical, naive. This resistance comes from two places: fear and regret. Fear that you're making a mistake they can't protect you from. Regret that they abandoned their own interests and can't bear to watch you succeed where they gave up. Understand their concern, appreciate their care, then ignore their advice. They're giving you counsel from their experience of failure, not their experience of success in following their passions. Listen to people who built careers from their interests, not people who abandoned their interests for careers. Here's what you're going to do this week. Choose one interest you've been treating as just a hobby. Commit to 30 minutes of deliberate practice every day for the next 90 days. Not casual engagement. Deliberate practice, focused improvement, skill building. Document your progress, share your journey. Connect with others who care about the same thing. At the end of 90 days, you'll have 90 minutes of evidence that your interests can become expertise, your hobbies can become skills, and your passions can become pathways. You've identified what matters to you. You've committed to developing it daily. Now we need to talk about the fuel that turns passion into freedom. The one thing that determines whether your dreams stay dreams or become reality. Financial independence starts now. Let me tell you about two teenagers. Both are 17. Both are smart, motivated, and from similar backgrounds. The first teenager, Alex, gets a summer job and earns $3,000. He spends it on clothes, entertainment, and upgrading his phone. It's gone by September. The second teenager, Jordan, earns the same $3,000. He spends $1,000 on necessities and invests $2,000. Fast forward 20 years. Alex has a decent job, a nice car payment, and a mortgage. He makes good money, but he spends it as fast as he earns it. He's financially comfortable, but not financially free. Jordan has the same job and makes the same money. But that $2,000 investment from when he was 17, with compound interest, it's now worth $50,000, and it's still growing. But here's the real difference. Jordan learned something at 17 that Alex never learned. He learned that money isn't just something you spend, it's something you control. And when you control money, money works for you instead of you working for money. Alex is still playing the spending game. Jordan graduated to the wealth game. This chapter is about graduating to the wealth game while you still have the most powerful weapon in finance on your side: time. The teenage advantage. Most financial advice targets adults who are trying to recover from decades of financial mistakes. You don't need recovery strategies. You need building strategies. You have something that 40-year-olds would pay millions for, decades of compound growth ahead of you. Think of money like seeds. Adults are trying to grow forests in 10 years. You have 40 years to grow forests. Their seeds need to become giant redwoods immediately. Your seeds just need to be planted. This changes everything about how you should think about money. If you invest $1,000 at 17 and never add another dollar, assuming average market returns, you'll have about $32,000 when you're 67. If you wait until you're 27 to invest that same $1,000, you'll have about $16,000 when you're 67. 10 years of delay cost you $16,000 on a $1,000 investment. This is why every dollar you invest as a teenager is worth more than $10 you invest as an adult. Not because the returns are different, because time is longer. The real cost of consumer culture. Before we talk about making money, let's talk about the forces designed to take money from you. You are living in the most sophisticated consumer manipulation system in human history. Every app on your phone, every ad you see, every influencer you follow has been optimized to make you want things you don't need with money you don't have. The average teenager sees over 5,000 advertisements per day. Each one is designed by teams of psychologists to make you feel incomplete without their product. They don't want your money once. They want your money forever. They want to turn you into a perpetual consumer who earns just enough to afford the lifestyle they're selling, but never enough to escape the cycle. When I was 16, I thought expensive shoes would make me more confident. Expensive clothes would make me more attractive. Expensive gadgets would make me happier. I was wrong about everything. The confidence came from developing skills. The attractiveness came from becoming interesting. The happiness came from building something meaningful. The expensive stuff just made me broke. Here's what nobody tells teenagers. Every dollar you spend on impressing other people is a dollar you can't spend on improving yourself. Every dollar you spend on temporary pleasure is a dollar you can't spend on permanent freedom. Every dollar you spend on consumer goods is a dollar you can't. Invest in assets that grow in value, side hustles that actually work. Now let's talk about making money as a teenager. Not just getting a job where you trade hours for dollars, but creating income streams that can grow beyond your time investment. Digital services. The internet has created opportunities that didn't exist for previous generations. You can offer services to clients anywhere in the world. Graphic design, video editing, social media management, content writing, tutoring, language instruction. If you have any skill that other people need, you can monetize it online. Start with platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, or Freelancer. Price yourself competitively at first. Focus on building reviews and reputation. Gradually raise your rates as you gain experience. I know a 17-year-old who taught himself Photoshop during quarantine. He started offering basic logo design for $25. Within 6 months, he was creating complete brand packages for $500. He didn't need a degree. He didn't need permission. He just needed to be better at Photoshop than the people who needed Photoshop work done. Local services. Don't overlook opportunities in your immediate area. Lawn care, pet sitting, house cleaning, car washing, tutoring, music lessons. These businesses have low startup costs and immediate demand. The key is professionalism. Show up on time. Do quality work. Communicate clearly. Most teenagers are unreliable, so reliability makes you valuable. Flipping and arbitrage. Buy things for less than they're worth and sell them for what they're actually worth. This teaches you market awareness, negotiation skills, and profit margins. Start with things you understand: sneakers, electronics, books, collectibles. Learn the market. Find underpriced items. Clean them up. Sell them properly. The goal isn't just to make money, it's to learn how money works, how value is created, how markets operate, how businesses function. These lessons are worth more than the dollars you earn. Age-appropriate opportunities. You don't need to start a Fortune 500 company as a teenager. You just need to start understanding how value creation works. Ages 16. Focus on learning and small-scale opportunities. Babysitting, lawn care, tutoring younger students, helping neighbors with technology. Ages 20. Expand to more sophisticated services. Online freelancing, part-time jobs in fields that interest you, starting small businesses. Ages 25. Begin building serious income streams, full-time work, substantial freelance clients, business, partnerships, investment income. The goal isn't to make huge money immediately. The goal is to build the skills, habits, and mindset that create huge money eventually. Every successful entrepreneur started by solving small problems for small amounts of money. Then they solved bigger problems for bigger amounts of money. Start with the small problems. The big problems will come. Building your money system. D. Now let's create your personal money management system. Income tracking. Know exactly how much money comes in and where it comes from. Expense tracking. Know exactly how much money goes out and where it goes. Savings automation. Automatically move money to savings before you can spend it. Investment education. Learn about stocks, bonds, index funds, and real estate. Goal setting. Define specific financial goals with specific timelines. Use apps like Mint or YNAB for budgeting. Use Acorns or Stash for beginning investing. Use separate bank accounts for different purposes. But remember, tools don't create discipline. Discipline creates results that tools can help you track. The investment mindset. Most teenagers think investing is something rich people do. This is backwards. Investing is how people become rich. You don't need thousands of dollars to start investing. You can start with $50. The important thing is starting, not the amount. Index funds. Buy small pieces of hundreds of companies. Safe, diversified, and historically profitable over long periods. Target date funds. Automatically adjust your investment mix as you get older. Dollar cost averaging. Invest the same amount every month regardless of market conditions. You're not investing for next year. You're investing for 30 years from now. Short-term market fluctuations are irrelevant. Long-term growth is inevitable. The teenagers who understand this principle will be financially free adults. The teenagers who don't will be financially stressed adults. Networking for young people. Money isn't just about math. It's about relationships. The people you know determine the opportunities you see. But networking as a teenager is different from networking as an adult. You can't offer business, partnerships, or major contracts. You can offer enthusiasm, fresh perspectives, and assistance. Find mentors. Identify successful people in fields that interest you. Ask thoughtful questions. Offer to help with small projects. Join communities. Participate in groups related to your interests. Online forums, local clubs, professional organizations that welcome students. Create value. Before asking for help, find ways to help others. Share useful information. Make connections. Solve small problems. The relationships you build now will create opportunities later. The person who teaches you graphic design at 17 might hire you for a major project at 21. Invest in relationships like you. Invest in stocks, consistently, patiently, and with long-term thinking. The wealth mindset shift. Here's the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop thinking like a consumer. Start thinking like an investor. Consumers ask, how can I afford this? Investors ask, how will this make me money? Consumers focus on earning more to spend more. Investors focus on earning more to invest more. Consumers see money as a tool for buying things. Investors see money as a tool for creating freedom. When you make this shift, everything changes. You start seeing opportunities instead of just expenses. You start building assets instead of just accumulating stuff. You start playing a completely different game. Financial independence isn't about being rich, it's about having options. The option to take risks because you have a safety net. The option to say no to jobs you don't want. The option to say yes to opportunities others can't afford. The option to live life on your terms instead of your bank account's terms. 10 years from now, you'll be 28. You can be 28 with financial stress and limited options, or 28 with financial freedom and unlimited possibilities. The choice you make today determines which 28-year-old you become. Your future self is counting on you to make the right choice. Start today. You've learned to earn money. Now let's talk about making money work for you, the secret that separates the wealthy from the wishful thinkers. Why age gaps are your secret weapon. When I was 19, I thought I was smart enough to figure everything out myself. I was wrong. I spent 2 years making mistakes that someone with 3 more years of experience could have helped me avoid in 2 conversations. I lost opportunities because I didn't know they existed. I struggled with problems that had already been solved by people just slightly ahead of me. Then I met David. He was 24, only 5 years older than me. But those 5 years might as well have been 50 in terms of what he understood about the world I was trying to navigate. In one coffee shop conversation, he gave me insights that changed the trajectory of my entire 20s. Not because he was exceptionally brilliant, but because he had walked the path I was starting to walk. Here's what I learned. The fastest way to accelerate your growth isn't to work harder. It's to learn from people who have already done what you're trying to do. But here's what most teenagers get wrong about mentorship. They think they need to find successful 50-year-olds who will take them under their wing. That's not how it works. The best mentors for teenagers are people in their early 20s, people who recently faced the exact challenges you're facing now. This chapter is about building what I call your mentor network. A collection of relationships with people 3 to 5 years ahead of you in various areas of life. Not one magical mentor who solves all your problems. A network of guides who each help you navigate different challenges. The age gap advantage. There's a sweet spot in mentorship that most people miss. People 10 to 20 years ahead have valuable wisdom, but they've often forgotten what it's like to face your specific challenges. Their advice can be too advanced or disconnected from current realities. People your age are seeing the same struggles you are. They can offer support but not solutions. But people 3 to 5 years ahead, they remember exactly what your challenges feel like because they just solved them. The solutions are fresh in their memory. The mistakes are recent enough to be specific and detailed. If you're 16 and struggling with time management, a 21-year-old who learned to balance work and school can give you practical systems. If you're 18 and confused about career direction, a 23-year-old who recently figured out their path can share the process they used. If you're 19 and learning about money, a 24-year-old who recently became financially stable can show you the exact steps. They're close enough to remember the specific obstacles, but far enough ahead to have overcome them. They're not intimidatingly successful, so they're approachable. They're young enough to understand current technology, culture, and economic realities. Most importantly, they remember what it feels like to not know what they know now. Learning from others' mistakes. Every successful person has a graveyard of failures behind them. Most of those failures could have been avoided with better information or guidance. Your mentors have already paid the tuition fees at the University of Hard Knocks. Why pay them again? I know a young entrepreneur who almost wasted $10,000 on a business idea that his mentor had tried 3 years earlier. One conversation saved him months of work and thousands of dollars. I know a college student who avoided a useless degree program because her mentor shared her experience with the same program. I know a teenager who chose the right first job because his mentor explained which opportunities actually lead to advancement and which are dead ends. In each case, the mentor didn't give vague advice like follow your passion or work hard. They shared specific insights based on recent experience. That program looks good on paper, but here's what they don't tell you, or I made this mistake and here's how to avoid it. This is the real value of mentorship, compressed learning from specific experience. The art of asking for advice. Most people ask for advice badly. They ask vague questions that require mentors to do all the thinking. How do I become successful? Is a terrible question because it's too broad and puts the burden of figuration on the mentor. I'm trying to decide between focusing on web development or graphic design. You've worked in both areas. What factors helped you choose your specialization? Is a much better question because it's specific and shows you've done some thinking. The decision question. I'm choosing between X and Y. What factors would you consider most important? The process question. How did you approach specific challenge? What would you do differently? The resource question. What books, courses, or experience were most valuable when you were learning? The mistake question. What's the biggest mistake people make when specific situation? How can I avoid it? Always follow up after receiving advice. Report back on what you tried and how it worked. This shows respect for their time and keeps the relationship active. Mentorship in the digital age. The internet has created unprecedented opportunities for mentorship. You can learn from people anywhere in the world through social media, forums, and online communities. LinkedIn. Follow people in fields you want to enter. Comment thoughtfully on their posts. Share relevant articles. Build visibility before reaching out directly. Twitter. Many successful people share insights and respond to thoughtful questions. Engage genuinely with their content before asking for advice. Industry forums, Reddit communities, Discord servers, and specialized forums often have experienced people willing to help newcomers who contribute positively. YouTube comments. Creators who teach often respond to specific, thoughtful questions in their comments sections. Be respectful of people's time. Don't expect immediate responses. Always add value to conversations before asking for help. Understand that digital relationships require more patience to develop than in-person ones. Building your mentor network strategy. Here's how to systematically build your mentor network. Step 1. Identify your learning areas. What specific areas do you want to grow in? Career skills, financial management, personal development, creative abilities. Step 2. Find communities. Where do people slightly ahead of you in these areas gather? Online forums, local meetups, professional associations, social media groups. Step 3. Start contributing. Begin adding value to these communities before asking for anything. Share resources. Answer questions you can answer. Support others' projects. Step 4. Identify potential mentors. Notice who gives helpful advice, seems approachable, and is at the right stage of development, 3 to 5 years ahead. Step 5. Build relationships. Gradually, start with small interactions. Ask specific questions. Offer relevant help. Let relationships develop naturally. Step 6. Formalize the most valuable relationships. Once you've built rapport with someone, you might ask if they'd be willing to have occasional coffee, chats, or phone calls to discuss your development in their area of expertise. The reverse mentorship opportunity. Sometimes you can offer something valuable to people who are much older and more experienced. Reverse mentorship. You understand technology, social media, and cultural trends that older professionals often struggle with. A 40-year-old business owner who needs help understanding TikTok marketing. A 35-year-old manager who wants to connect better with younger employees. A 50-year-old entrepreneur who needs help with modern digital tools. In exchange for helping them with areas where you have more current knowledge, they can share their extensive life and business experience with you. This creates a truly mutual relationship where both people learn from each other. Your future as a mentor. The teenager who builds a strong mentor network becomes the young adult who helps other teenagers navigate the challenges they've overcome. Learning to be mentored well prepares you to mentor others well. You understand what kind of guidance is most helpful and how to build mutually beneficial relationships. Mentoring others also deepens your own understanding and helps you continue growing. The people who help you grow are investing in your potential. The best way to honor that investment is to help others grow as well. Your mentor network is more than a collection of relationships. It's a system for accelerated learning, compressed wisdom, and expanded opportunities. While your peers are learning everything the hard way, you'll be learning from people who have already solved the problems you're facing. The time you invest in building these relationships will pay dividends for decades. Start building today. You've learned to find guides for your journey, but the modern world offers a different kind of guide, one designed not to help you, but to control you. The media trap, seeing through the addiction industry. Right now, as you listen to this, teams of neuroscientists, behavioral psychologists, and data scientists are working to hijack your brain. They're not doing this maliciously. They're doing it for money. Every social media platform, every streaming service, every video game, every news app has been optimized using billions of dollars of research into one thing: how to make you unable to stop consuming their product. They study your dopamine responses. They track your eye movements. They analyze when you're most vulnerable to persuasion. They test thousands of variations of colors, sounds, and timing to find the combination that best captures and holds your attention. And they're very, very good at what they do. When I was 17, I thought I was in control of my media consumption. I thought I chose what to watch, when to scroll, how long to spend online. I was wrong. The platforms were choosing for me. They were using my psychological vulnerabilities against me to keep me engaged longer than I intended, more often than I wanted, and in ways that left me feeling empty instead of fulfilled. This isn't just about wasted time. This is about the systematic hijacking of your attention, your motivation, and your potential. While you're being entertained into passivity, your peers who understand this game are building skills, relationships, and opportunities that will define their entire lives. The question isn't whether you consume media. The question is whether media consumes you. The billion-dollar addiction economy. Let me explain how you became the product being sold. Traditional media made money by selling your attention to advertisers. You watched shows, advertisers, bought commercial time, everyone was happy. But digital media discovered something more profitable: your behavior. Every click, swipe, like, and share generates data about what makes you act. This data is worth more than advertising revenue because it can be used to predict and influence your future behavior. Variable ratio reinforcement. Like slot machines, social media platforms give you rewards, likes, comments, new content, on an unpredictable schedule. This creates the strongest form of addiction known to psychology. Fear of missing out, FOMO. Platforms constantly suggest that interesting things are happening elsewhere, making you afraid to stop checking. Social approval loops. Your posts generate social feedback, creating dependency on external validation for self-worth. Infinite scroll. Content never ends, so there's never a natural stopping point. You think you're choosing to check your phone. You're actually responding to psychological conditioning designed to make checking feel urgent and stopping feel impossible. The average teenager checks their phone 150 plus times per day. That's not choice. That's addiction. Understanding dopamine. Hijacking. Dopamine is your brain's motivation chemical. It's released when you anticipate something good, driving you to seek rewards. This system evolved to help you pursue food, shelter, and reproduction. But it can be artificially triggered by digital stimuli. Every notification, every new piece of content, every social interaction online triggers a small dopamine release. Your brain starts associating your phone with pleasure and novelty. Like any drug, you need increasing amounts of stimulation to get the same dopamine hit. What used to entertain you for 30 minutes now requires hours to satisfy. Meanwhile, activities that should be naturally rewarding, reading, exercise, face-to-face conversation, learning, feel boring by comparison. You're not lazy or undisciplined. You're competing against billions and dollar companies that have optimized their products to be more stimulating than real life. It's not a fair fight, unless you understand the game being played against you. The subtle destruction of attention. The most insidious damage from media addiction isn't the time wasted. It's the destruction of your ability to focus deeply on anything. Attention is like a muscle. Use it for sustained focus, and it grows stronger. Fragment it with constant interruptions, and it grows weaker. Most teenagers have trained their attention muscles for constant switching instead of sustained focus. They can't read for an hour. work on projects for extended periods, or think deeply about complex problems. This shows up as inability to study effectively, difficulty completing projects, restlessness during conversations, need for constant entertainment, anxiety when devices aren't available. Social media also destroys contentment by forcing constant comparison with others' highlight reels. You see everyone else's best moments while living your ordinary ones. This creates chronic dissatisfaction with your own life and progress. The news addiction cycle. News media has discovered that fear and outrage keep people watching longer than hope and progress. The result is coverage that makes the world seem more dangerous, more chaotic, and more hopeless than it actually is. Breaking news alerts trigger your stress response system. Your brain treats every notification like an emergency, flooding your system with stress hormones. You become addicted to the physiological arousal of constant crisis, unable to relax without checking what new disaster has occurred. By most objective measures, the world is safer, healthier, and more prosperous than it has ever been. But media consumption makes people feel like everything is falling apart. This learned helplessness keeps you passive and distracted instead of active and focused on what you can control. Gaming and virtual achievement. Gaming isn't inherently destructive. Many games teach valuable skills like strategy, problem-solving, and coordination. The problem is when games become substitutes for real achievement instead of supplements to it. Games are designed to provide feelings of progress, accomplishment, and social connection. When these needs are met virtually, you feel less motivation to pursue them in reality. You're in dangerous territory when gaming achievements feel more important than real achievements. You avoid real-world challenges because they're harder than virtual ones. You spend more time with online friends than offline friends. You use gaming to escape problems instead of solving them. Games can be part of a balanced life, but they shouldn't be the center of it. Set clear time boundaries, and ensure gaming doesn't replace skill development, relationship building, or real-world accomplishment. Building media immunity. Now let's talk about building immunity to media manipulation. Environmental design. Your environment makes choices for you. Design it to make good choices easy and bad choices harder. Phone in another room while sleeping and studying. Remove apps that consume time without adding value. Use website blockers during focused work time. Create phone-free zones in your living space. Notification management. Turn off all non-essential notifications. Your phone should not be allowed to interrupt your attention whenever it wants. Only allow notifications for truly urgent communications. Everything else can wait until you choose to check it. Scheduled consumption. Instead of random media consumption throughout the day, schedule specific times for entertainment and information. Check social media twice a day for 15 minutes each time. Watch videos for 1 hour in the evening. Read news once a day for 30 minutes. This gives you control over your media diet instead of letting it control you. The social media detox. Most people need a period of digital detox to reset their relationship with technology. The 30-day challenge. For 30 days, eliminate all non-essential digital media. No social media platforms, no entertainment videos, no gaming, except brief, scheduled periods. No news beyond weekly updates. What to expect. First week, withdrawal symptoms, boredom, anxiety. Second week, increased awareness of triggers and habits. Third week, new patterns beginning to form. Fourth week, clarity about what you actually miss versus what was just habit. The reintroduction. After 30 days, slowly reintroduce only the platforms and content that genuinely add value to your life. You'll be amazed how much of your previous consumption was pure habit. The relationship filter. Pay attention to how your media consumption affects your relationships. Are you present during conversations or constantly distracted by devices? Do you have meaningful discussions or just share memes and surface-level content? Are your friendships based on shared interests and values or just shared entertainment consumption? Deep relationships require sustained attention and emotional presence. Media addiction makes both difficult. Choose relationships that encourage your growth over relationships that enable your distractions. Understanding the long game. The companies profiting from your attention are playing a long game. They want to create lifelong consumption habits that generate decades of revenue. You need to play an even longer game. The habits you build now will determine whether you spend your 20s as a creator or a consumer, a producer or a product. Every hour you spend in deep focus instead of shallow entertainment compounds over time. Every day you choose real relationships over digital ones builds social capital. Every week you invest in skills Instagram. Ease of consuming content creates lasting value. The question is, in 10 years, do you want to be someone who built something meaningful or someone who watched other people build meaningful things? Your media-free future. Imagine a version of yourself who isn't constantly distracted by devices. Someone who can read for hours without feeling restless. Someone who has deep conversations without checking their phone. Someone who pursues long-term goals without being derailed by digital distractions. In a world where most people are addicted to distraction, your ability to focus deeply becomes a massive competitive advantage. While others are consuming, you'll be creating. While others are reacting, you'll be planning. While others are being entertained, you'll be becoming excellent. The media wants you to believe that you need constant entertainment to be happy. This is a lie designed to keep you weak, dependent, and profitable. You don't need to be entertained every moment. You need to be engaged in something meaningful. Break free from the media trap. Your future self is counting on it. You've learned to protect your attention from digital predators. Now let's talk about building something they can't touch. A collection of abilities that makes you irreplaceable in an uncertain world. The skill stack, building your competitive edge, ET. Let me tell you about two college graduates, both 22, both smart and hardworking. Sarah spent 4 years becoming an expert in accounting. She knows everything about financial statements, tax codes, and auditing procedures. She's very good at one thing. Mike spent 4 years becoming pretty good at 4 things. Basic coding, graphic design, marketing, fundamentals, and financial analysis. When they both apply for jobs, Sarah initially has an advantage. She gets hired faster because companies have clear accounting positions that match her expertise. But watch what happens over the next 5 years. Sarah does accounting work. She's competent and reliable, but she only qualifies for accounting positions. When automation starts handling routine accounting tasks, her opportunities become limited. Mike starts in a marketing role, but quickly becomes valuable for projects that require multiple skills. He can analyze financial data and create presentations and build simple websites and understand how marketing budgets work. By age 27, Mike is leading cross-functional teams and earning twice what Sarah makes. Not because he's better at any one thing, but because he can do things that people who are better at one thing cannot do. This is the power of the skill stack. Being the only person who can combine specific skills in useful ways. In an age where artificial intelligence excels at narrow tasks, humans who can think across disciplines and combine skills creatively become irreplaceable. The death of the single-skill career. The career landscape is changing faster than most people realize. Jobs that require deep expertise in one area are being automated or outsourced. Jobs that require creative combination of multiple skills are becoming more valuable and more secure. 50Y. Years ago, you could build a career by becoming very good at one thing and doing that thing for 40 years. The world changed slowly enough that your expertise remained relevant. Today, the half-life of specific skills is getting shorter. What you learn in college might be obsolete by the time you graduate. But the ability to learn new skills and combine them creatively never becomes obsolete. This is the meta skill that matters most. Instead of trying to predict which specific skills will be valuable in the future, build the ability to quickly acquire and combine whatever skills the future demands. The math of skill. Multiplication. Here's the counterintuitive math that makes skill stacking so powerful. If you're in the top 10% at one skill, you're competing against millions of people. If you're in the top 25% at two complementary skills, you're competing against thousands of people. If you're in the top 25% at three complementary skills, you might be the only person in your area who has that combination. Let's say you're top 25% at writing, 1 in 4 people. Top 25% at basic coding, 1 in 4 people. Top 25% at understanding psychology, 1 in 4 people. The chances of someone having all three skills at that level, 1 in 64. You're now qualified for positions that require technical writing, user experience design, content strategy, product management, or marketing automation. Jobs that didn't exist 20 years ago, but are incredibly valuable today. Each additional skill doesn't just add to your value, it multiplies it by creating new combinations and opportunities. Building your personal skill stack. Here's how to strategically build your skill stack. Step 1. Inventory your current abilities. What are you already good at? What comes naturally to you? What do people ask for your help with? Don't just think about formal skills. Include soft skills like organizing, listening, explaining complex ideas, or staying calm under pressure. Step 2. Identify your interest areas. What fields genuinely fascinate you? What problems do you find yourself thinking about? What industries do you find yourself reading about? Look for the intersection between your natural abilities and your genuine interests. Step 3. Map complementary skills. For each area of interest, identify 2 to 3 skills that would enhance your value in that field. If you're interested in environmental science, you might develop research skills, data visualization, and science communication. If you're interested in entrepreneurship, you might develop basic web development, copywriting, and financial modeling. Step 4. Choose your first stack. Select 3 to 4 skills that work well together and align with your interests and natural abilities. Start developing these simultaneously rather than waiting to master one before starting the next. Step 5. Find synthesis projects. Look for projects that require multiple skills from your stack. This accelerates learning and proves your ability to combine skills effectively. Building skills. Through side projects, the best way to develop a skill stack is through projects that require multiple skills. Start a blog or YouTube channel, develops writing, research, marketing, basic web development, content strategy. Launch a small business, develops sales, marketing, customer service, financial management, problem solving. Organize community events, develops project management, communication, leadership, logistics, relationship building. Create educational content, develops teaching, presentation, technology skills, subject matter, expertise, audience building. Freelance in multiple areas, develops client management, diverse technical skills, business, development, time management. These projects don't just develop individual skills, they teach you how to integrate skills to create value for other people. This integration experience is often more valuable than the individual skills themselves. The long-term skill stack strategy. Think of your skill stack development in phases. Phase 1, teens. Explore widely, develop foundational skills, discover interests and natural abilities. Phase 2, early 20s. Focus on 3 to 4 core skills that work well together. Gain professional experience. Phase 3, late 20s. Deepen your core skills while adding specialized knowledge in your chosen field. Phase 4, 30s plus. Become known for your unique combination. Mentor others. Create new opportunities. Your skill stack should evolve as the world changes and your interests develop. The goal isn't to lock yourself into a specific combination forever, but to develop the ability to acquire and combine skills as needed. Your future as a skill stacker. 10 years from now, you could be the person who combines technology and psychology to design better user experiences, merges business knowledge and environmental science to create sustainable solutions, integrates art and data analysis to tell compelling stories with information, connects engineering and communication to make complex ideas accessible. The specific combination doesn't matter as much as developing the ability to combine skills creatively. In a world that's changing rapidly, this ability to synthesize and adapt will be your greatest competitive advantage. While your peers are trying to find their one thing, you can be building a portfolio of ABI. Lighties that makes you irreplaceable. Or you've learned to build capabilities that set you apart from the crowd, but capabilities mean nothing without the right people around you. The long game, playing chess, while others play checkers. Imagine two 18-year-olds making decisions about their Friday night. Alex sees that his friends are hanging out, feels the immediate pull of social connection, and joins them. They spend the evening watching movies, complaining about school, and eating junk food. It's pleasant, comfortable, and forgettable. Jordan feels the same social pull, but he also considers what his future self needs. He's building a skill that requires daily practice. He's working on a project that could open doors. He has reading that will expand his thinking. Jordan chooses to stay home and invest in his development. It's less immediately gratifying than hanging out, but he knows it's building something valuable. Fast forward. 5 years later, Alex is still making the same comfortable choices, still hanging out with the same people, still consuming more than he creates. His life is pleasant, but unremarkable. Jordan has developed expertise, built a network, created opportunities, and gained options that Alex doesn't even know exist. Same starting point, same options, different thinking timeframe. Alex was playing checkers, making moves based on immediate consequences. Jordan was playing chess, making moves based on long-term positioning. This chapter is about becoming a chess player in a world full of checkers players, about learning to see the long-term consequences of today's decisions, about building a life through patient, strategic choices that compound over time. The immediate gratification trap. Your brain is wired for short-term survival, not long-term success. For most of human history, long-term planning beyond the next season or year wasn't necessary or possible. The challenges were immediate: find food, avoid predators, survive the winter. But in the modern world, your biggest challenges are long-term: building skills, managing relationships, creating financial security, developing character. Your ancient brain still screams for immediate rewards while your future depends on delayed gratification. Every day, you face dozens of small choices between immediate pleasure and long-term benefit. Sleep in or wake up early to read, watch videos or practice a skill, eat convenient food or prepare something nutritious, buy something you want or save the money, take the easy class or challenge yourself. Avoid conflict or have a difficult conversation. Each individual choice seems insignificant, but these choices compound over months and years to create dramatically different life trajectories. The teenager who consistently chooses long-term benefit becomes an adult with options. The teenager who consistently chooses immediate gratification becomes an adult with limitations. Thinking beyond immediate gratification. Long-term thinking is a skill you can develop through practice. The future self visualization. Before making any significant decision, visualize yourself 5 years from now. What would that version of you want you to choose today? Would future you be grateful that you spent 4 hours playing video games, or would he be grateful that you spent 4 hours learning a valuable skill? The compound question. Ask yourself, if I make this choice every day for the next year, where will I end up? If you eat fast food every day for a year, you'll be unhealthy and broke. If you read for 30 minutes every day for a year, you'll be more knowledgeable and thoughtful. If you practice a skill for an hour every day for a year, you'll be competent at something valuable. The opportunity cost analysis. Every choice eliminates other possibilities. When you choose to spend time or money on one thing, you're choosing not to spend it on everything else. Make these trade-offs explicit. I'm choosing to buy this gadget instead of investing the money. Or, I'm choosing to watch TV instead of developing my abilities. Building systems. Instead of relying on motivation, motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes based on your mood, energy level, and circumstances. Systems are reliable. They work regardless of how you feel on any given day. Motivation-based approach. I'm motivated to get in shape, so I'll work out intensely for the next month. Systems-based approach. I'll go to the gym every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 a.m., regardless of how motivated I feel. Consistency. Systems ensure you take action even when motivation is low. Momentum. Regular action builds momentum that makes continued action easier. Identity. Systems help you become the type of person who does certain things, not just someone who occasionally does them. Compound returns. Systems ensure you get the compound benefits of consistent action over time. Make it obvious. Design your environment to make good choices easy and bad choices harder. Make it attractive. Connect positive emotions and rewards to your desired behaviors. Make it easy. Reduce friction for good behaviors and increase friction for bad behaviors. Make it satisfying. Create immediate rewards for long-term beneficial behaviors. So ask yourself, will your 20s be a repair mission or a launch pad? Because the clock is running, and your future self is watching. If this audiobook shifted something inside you, if it gave you clarity, hunger, or the courage to choose the harder path, then subscribe to Darkwood Audiobooks. We don't sell comfort, we narrate awakening. Hit subscribe, then start building the man you were meant to become, in silence, in strength, and on your terms.